they're
No,
all lined up.
Like, in this matchup, what do you think is the
Deciding?
strategy of choice?
I
think
like
Ret Pally is the main target. Hunter is the main target. You are a resident. You're a resident Ret Pally expert.
I normally like to go on the Ret Paladin. It does kind of counteract that selfless healer talent that increases the healing on his teammates, and it looks like they both are. I think they're just running at Jinjil to get this Hodge. Actually,
He actually grounded it. Excellent
Whoa!
job there by Jinzel grounding Zev's Hodge. Wad, Ret, and Rampant just hitting each other, both using Avenging Wrath instantly. It looks like Zevs is actually taking the brunt end of the damage. That's because Absurge was in CC where Jinzel was not. Finally, Jinzel getting trapped up there, getting sacked out immediately by Rampant. Both teams wanting to play super aggressive and not fall behind.
Yeah, the first sacrifice used here, Zev's going to pull back, wait for their CC to come up, try and expose Rampant behind the pillar here, maybe even Hodge him out of line of sight. Jinzel trying to keep his team top from max range. He did get locked out by Chillin's counter shot. Rampant dipping low here. Virio also getting chunked to 60%. Absturge tied on mana at the moment. Both teams playing very aggressively. Zev pushing in here to try and land a Hodge potentially onto Jinzel. He throws the grounding down for the Hodge. I don't believe he did ground it this time around. Full Hodge onto Jinzel. Absturge gets sacked on the trap. Jinzel now in a full trap. Rampant here alone trying to keep himself stable. Binding shot going to be triggering on both Ret Paladins here, and they're both down at 70%. Absurge using his Aura Mastery here to try and heal Zevs back up. He's going to be able to top him off. Jinzel no longer CC'd, pops the Ascendance to try and get some extra healing as well onto Rampant here, who's trying to push in onto Zev, and this is looking like a very tied game so far. Chillin getting hexed here. Absurge not able to dispel it. He actually had to trinket that hex, so no dispel available. Well-timed hex from Jinzel there. Rampant looking like they want to push in here and finish Zev off.
Yeah, Chillin doing an excellent job eating that DR trap onto Absturge there, so preventing him from going into that crowd control. Zev's still taking a lot of damage though, hovering around 50% HP. Finally, Jinzel getting full chapped up. Rampant doesn't have, oh sorry, he used his last sack getting him out of that, so Jinzel will be able to get off some healing onto Rampant, and now Rampant's the one on the back foot. He does have his bubble available if he needs it, as well as one more sacrifice ready to go, so we can get Jinzel out of one more crowd control. Zevs also has a sacrifice up for Absurge. Absurge, as well as Jinzel, still have all their cooldowns ready to go. Absurge getting hodged up there, and Zevs down to 50% HP, deciding to bop himself as well, so the sacrifice onto the full trap onto Absurge, getting him out of that. Absurge hopefully will be able to top him off. But Rampant uses wings as well as Zevs, both teams mirroring each other's cooldowns. Jinzel caught into the full trap, deciding to trinket that. He wants to keep Rampant up. He needs to stay aggressive. Down to 8% HP. Jinzel using that Spirit Link. Both Shamans using the Spirit Link, and this is just a mirrored game.
Yeah, it's exactly the same on both sides. Zev getting a bit of an advantage here as Rampant gets chunked to 40%. The Binding Shot going to trigger. Absurge even throwing a Lava Burst out in the midst of that. Mana, though, is paying in the favor of Jinzel. If he can stabilize here, his entire team is very low right now. Absurge getting full trapped. He does have a sacrifice available. He's going to use it there to keep his team offensive. Now Jinzel in a trap, and he has no sacrifice. He sacrificed the Hodge, I believe. It still landed the trap. Virio's in trouble, down to 42%. Might have to use his first deterrence of the game here. Zev trying to reconnect here. Absurge looking for a Hex. He's going to get Windshield on that Hex and interrupted immediately afterwards on the previous Hex. So locking down Absurge here is pretty critical as mana is starting to hurt. They're going to have to pull back on the defense right now. Kid's the Freak in full retreat. Rampant pushing in now, trying to get some damage out onto Zev, it would appear. Absurge full trapped. No way out from Zev. It might be his bubble here, down to 46%. He's going to bop himself a second time. It gets purged off. He's going for some off heals. The Barrage going to be connecting there, taking him down to 60%. Absurge throwing at the Earth Shield. Jinzel now in a full trap is going to get sacked out of that immediately here. That we're looking for the next CC chain onto Absurge to try and get the bubble out of Zev, but it looks like Flexlauncher is ahead as long as they don't get gimped.
Yeah, absolutely. Rampant still has his bubble available if he needs it, but Jinzel has no trinket. He does have one Spirit Link. Absurge getting hodged up, but he still has his trinket available if he needs it. Zev's getting a little bit low, using that Divine Protection. Absurge actually getting full trap there. No sack available from Zev's. Absurge might want to trinket. Instead, Zev's decides to bubble. So Kid's a Freak slowly working through their cooldowns, making sure not to overlap. Both teams doing an excellent job of that so far. Jinzel actually getting full hodged up there. Rampant taking a lot of damage. Decides to just bop himself off as soon as the crows go up. Jinzel in the full trap. Rampant actually still in a little bit of trouble, down to 50% HP, throwing those heals on himself. But is it enough? 30% HP. Jinzel using that Aura Master, going to be able to get off those healing surges. Zev's using those wings right away. Rampant does have his wings up and ready to go. Absurge's getting fully hodged at the moment. And now Zev's is on the back foot. Rampant using his Avenging Wrath. Zev's in quite a bit of trouble right now. Absurge's throwing out that Spirit Link, wants to stabilize his HP, but down to 10%, 30% HP. Absurge's having a really hard time topping him off. That's going to be the game, and in a bit of an upset, Flexlauncher drawing first blood, taking this series 1-0.
My goodness. Upset, absolutely. Both of these teams just trading blow for blow, and somehow, some way, Flexlauncher got ahead. I couldn't even keep up with how these teams traded. But apparently Flexlauncher got the most efficient trades there. At the very end, Absterge has his trinket, but no Spirit Link and no bubble available for Zev. And you just really can't come back for that when you have wings on a rep paladin. You need that burst reset button, you know? Regardless of being in CC. And there we go. The very first game is going to go to Flexlauncher.
It was interesting because they weren't only ahead on cooldowns, they were ahead on mana by like 20%. It's like taking the lead from start to finish, and maybe RNG has a factor in that. Like we saw all the cooldowns being mirrored almost identically, so it could have been a little bit more crits for one side, paying the favor forward, forcing a cooldown faster. The sacrifice, I don't even know if you can argue that the sacrifices were mismanaged on either side, but it seemed at one point that Rampant was behind and then suddenly ahead. He had a sacrifice and Zev didn't, and that's what forced the bubble. And they did knock Absterge away on that trap, so that's why he couldn't really trinket it and drop the link instead of bubbling. He got knocked far away, so it was good by Vireo to do that and prevent that trinket from being used instead of the bubble. And I feel like the bubble should be the last line of defense, and as soon as you don't have that, you've kind of lost. Like at that point, like you have no bops and no bubble. And even at the end, Chillin did manage to eat that trap, but they just had so much damage that it didn't matter.
It's really interesting that you said that about the Hand of Sacrifice there, as Rampant seemed to be falling behind, and while Zev was ahead. But I've run into that many times running Ret Hunter Shaman going up against mirrors, and it's almost like if you're frugal or too frugal with your Hand of Sacrifices, it actually hurts you in the end because they refresh over time and your team gains momentum, taking your Shaman out of that CC. So it's really hard to make a decision on when's the best time to sack your healer out of that CC. Do you do it right away to try to prevent that Hodge trap, or do you hold on to it for when you really need it? And it's tricky, but here we go. We're going to jump into game number 2 here between these two Ret Hunter Shaman teams. A mirror on Ruins of Lordaeron. No place to hide for anyone on a map like this.
Yeah, and it was almost ridiculous last game how mirrored their cooldowns were. We saw Wings coming out at the same time, Spirit Links coming out at the same time, Sacks coming out at the same time, Traps coming out at the same time, which is quite ridiculous. But the Abster's getting hodged up right away by Rampant. Jinzel also getting hodged. Abster's into the full trap, getting sacked out by Zevs. Both Rampant and Zach, or sorry, both Rampant and Zevs both using their Avenging Wrath right now, hitting each other quite hard at the moment. Jinzel still out of CC, getting full hex actually by Absterge, deciding to trinket that immediately. Well done by Absterge, using that Spirit Walker's Grace to get the full hex on a Jinzel. Jinzel now using his Spirit Walker's Grace, as well as the sacrifice coming out on Rampant. I'm not exactly sure what he sacked there. I didn't think Jinzel was in any CC. The Hodge coming out though onto Absterge at the moment. Jinzel still not in any CC. Zev's in a little bit of trouble. Chillin doing an excellent job eating that trap there, but the bubble coming out from Zev's a little bit preemptive. Absterge as well using that Spirit Link, so a little bit of an overlap by Kids of Freak, perhaps a little bit shaken up by last game.
Yeah, they don't want to get caught off guard, but that kind of overlap is something that's going to cost you the game in a mirror. Jinzel into the full trap. He does get sacrificed out of that immediately. Rampant trying to keep the pressure rolling onto Zev. He doesn't have a bubble here. Forbearance going to be fading shortly, but they can purge the bop off. Abster's trying to catch up here. Jinzel looking to try and get something done as well. Spamming the purge, gets the healing surges out. He does get locked out by the counter shot of Chillin. Now into the full Hodge, looking to land the trap on it. Chillin eats the trap out from Vireo. Jinzel trying to kite away. He does drop the Spirit Link. He didn't have his trinket available, so I like that play, keeping his team offensive. He still has another one remaining, as well as the bubble. Good play out from Flexlauncher. They're just trying to put the last nail in onto Zev. Abster's kiting away, keeping him topped off. And Chillin doing a good job, as I said, eating the traps. He's going to have to consistently do that if they want to pull a win off here. Master's Call coming out onto Chillin, trying to stay offensive here. He does land the full trap onto Jinzel. Rampant could be in trouble here. The barrage is connecting down to 30%. Hodge onto Jinzel out of that as well. He's going to have to use his bubble. Suddenly both sides running low on cooldowns. Absterge sitting through that full trap. The bop wasn't able to be purged off. Zev down to 69%. They need to land one more trap, and I really feel like the next trap could decide the game.
Yeah, both wings coming up for Paladins. We're probably going to most likely see them blowing them both at the same time. Zev's deciding to use it first, trying to kill off Rampant, who is still on Forbearance for quite some time. Jinzel deciding to drop that Spirit Link totem, as well. Rampant now using his wings in response. Abster's caught into that full trap, and it looks like Rampant's going to go down. Kids of Freak going to tie it up 1-1, getting overwhelmed by the Avenging Wrath from Zev's.
That is unbelievable that that occurred, especially with the overlap that we saw in the very beginning. I mean, when they were down a Spirit Link and they were also down a bubble, when they used the same amount of offensive cooldowns, it's really incredible that Kids of Freak could bring that game back, and that really just proves to show their communication and also their synergy in rotating those defensive cooldowns between Zev and Absturge. And there we go. Game number 2 is going to conclude, and we're going to be jumping into game number 3 here. This is a best of 3 series, guys. Don't forget. So the next game is going to determine who is advancing and who is eliminated here at GCD TV number 16. And let's jump right into it. Man.
And it was really close. Jinzel didn't have his trinket for like 5 more seconds. If he was able to get the trinket link off, the momentum would have swung in the opposite side. Absurge was trapped, but Zev's popping his wings a few seconds before Rampant got him so much more momentum, and not having the trinket available there for a few seconds is what ended up costing the game. So Absturge's early Hex winning him the second game here in the series. They're going to have to be looking out for that and not letting him get that too much for free.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Here we go, guys. The last map of this best of 3 series is going to be played out on the polar opposite of Ruins of Lordaeron, Tolvaron Arena. Alright, guys, welcome to Tolvaron Arena. Once again, it is a Ret Hunter Shaman mirror here in the losers bracket between Flexlauncher and Kids of Freak 2.0. Now, I'm under the assumption that I feel that Kids of Freak 2.0 is definitely the favorite going into this, but Flexlauncher, they're not going down without a fight, not in the least bit. They're looking quite good, but this is the last game. This is what's going to decide who's advancing and who's losing right here, right now.
Yeah, a lot on the line, absolutely.
It's very fast-paced, very organized-based as well. Like, you need to have a plan out there. It seemed like Flexlauncher had a decent plan, but Absurge's Hex just threw a wrench in the mix. And like you said, Rampant actually chose to sacrifice the half-trap out of the Hex. If he had that sacrifice available at the end, maybe his team could have stayed alive. So they're going to have to make sure that they don't overlap critical things like that. Chillin taking some early pressure here in the center of the map. Zev playing very far back, waiting for Rampant to get lured in here, and he is following him back. Going to be kiting with that Blessing of Freedom. Virio looking like he wants to get a trap here. Chillin as well. Both hunters positioning on top of the opposing shamans. The full Hodge onto Absturge. Rampant popping his wings here immediately. Zev's already line of sighting. They're actually going to have to go after Chillin, taking him down to half HP. He pops the Murder of Crows. Barrage onto Rampant, taking him down to 50% through his shield wall now. A Hodge onto Jinzel. Chillin looking to land some CC out of that. The full Hex going to land. He trinkets that along with the trap, avoiding all of that CC, saving the sacrifice for a time later. Now Zev at 60%. Absurge trying to keep him topped off. He should be able to, as there is no more crowd control for him.
That was a really good opener for Kids of Freak. Zev's did an excellent job waiting for Rampant to use those wings, and I think Rampant actually wasted his wings a little bit. Getting down to actually 20% HP right there. Jinzel having a War Master. And what just happened? We're going to need a replay.
We're going to need a replay on that one, but that was insane.
Did you guys even see that? Like,
that wasn't wings or anything.
He just took a lot of damage.
Just keep an eye on Wad Ret's health here, guys, as we're looking at this replay. That was incredible. Rampant now on the back foot in the replay, but Wad Ret is the one who's going to be taking a bunch of damage. Absurge's not into any CC at all, but he's just going to go down. A Spirit Link was dropped, but just too little too late. And Flexlauncher taking a game away from Kids of Freak, a very important game at that, and they will advance here at GCD TV number 16 against...
Zev still had Bubble and Bop and stuff, right?
He had a lot of buttons left, yeah.
Yeah.
Well then.
I crit, he dies.
I crit, he dies, says Dr. Seuss.
I won't.
Flexlauncher will advance here at GCD TV.
I did not expect that. That was an upset for sure. In my book.
Yeah.
That was a huge upset. I mean, you guys have seen Absurge come back and compete, always do